A sunny day. Peppa goes to school, but her path is blocked by other pigs. They laugh at her skin color. They say she's not like everyone else. Mummy Pig taught her to be kind. But kindness doesn't help. Daddy Pig says everyone is equal, but the world disagrees. George doesn't understand why Peppa is being hurt. His eyes are full of tears. Peppa feels pain. Words hurt more than blows. She tries to hide, but wherever she goes, glances follow her. Her friends turn away. They are afraid to be like her. Peppa feels like an outcast. She is alone against everyone. She hears voices. They whisper that she is unworthy. The voices grow louder. They scream that she must disappear. Peppa tries to run away from the voices, but they are inside her. She sees shadows. They dance around her, pointing fingers. The shadows become denser. They engulf her. The school is empty. The laughter has died down, but the pain remains. No one comes. No one searches. Toys lie on the floor. They wait, but Peppa will not return. The sun sets. Darkness engulfs the school. Peppa became part of prejudice. She dissolved into oblivion.
The morning at Peppa Pig's house began as usual. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and Mummy Pig was making breakfast. Peppa and George sat at the table happily eating pancakes. Daddy Pig read the newspaper, snorting with satisfaction. Everything was peaceful, just like always. But something was different that day. George, normally cheerful and loud, was unusually quiet. He didn't ask for seconds, didn't laugh at Daddy Pig's jokes, and ignored his favorite toy, Dinosaur. Mummy Pig noticed first. "George, dear, are you all right?" she asked. He only nodded. His eyes were blank, and his smile looked painted on. Peppa tried to play with him, but he turned away, staring at nothing. At the playground, where laughter usually echoed, George stayed alone. He didn't run with Pedro Pony or jump in puddles with Rebecca Rabbit. His friends, Susie Sheep and others, tried to include him, but he just waved them off like he couldn't hear them. As days passed, George became worse. He avoided people, moved stiffly, and spoke in a flat tone. He stopped playing, drawing, or watching cartoons. The only thing that interested him was an old, worn book he found in the attic. He spent hours flipping through its pages, though it had no text or pictures, only strange symbols and patterns. Peppa tried to peek, but George clutched it tightly. His eyes were cold and distant, with no trace of his usual sparkle. One night, after everyone had gone to bed, Peppa heard strange noises from George's room. Not crying or laughter, something between a whisper and a rustle. She crept to the door and opened it slightly. George was sitting on the lower bunk, and above him, his dinosaur toy hung, gently swaying as if alive. George murmured to the book, his body trembling slightly. A strange smell filled the room, like old paper mixed with something Peppa couldn't place. A chill ran down her spine. She didn't know what was happening to her brother. The next morning, George was gone. His bed was empty, and the book lay open on the floor. On one page was a drawing that hadn't been there before, a silhouette of a piglet dissolving into the strange symbols. Peppa called Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig, but they only shrugged, thinking George was playing hide and seek. But Peppa knew better. Something had changed. The world felt wrong. Familiar sounds now seemed eerie. She stared at George's empty bed, her eyes full of something deeper than childish fear. Something had taken her brother. She didn't know if he'd ever return. And the scariest part, she began to notice how the shadows in the house grew longer, and the whispers became clearer. The sunny day slowly faded. Peppa and George played in their room, their laughter echoing through the house. Everything seemed normal, but an odd tension lingered in the air. George, busy with his toy car, suddenly froze. His gaze locked onto the window, where tree shadows swayed in an eerie, unnatural rhythm. Peppa noticed his silence and came closer. "What's wrong, George?" she asked. He only shook his head, eyes fixed on the window. A strange sadness filled his expression. At dinner, George was unusually quiet. He barely touched his food and stared blankly at the table. "George, are you feeling okay?" Mummy Pig asked gently. He nodded slowly, his movements detached. Daddy Pig tried joking, but George didn't respond. That night, they lay in their bunk bed, George below, Peppa above. Peppa couldn't sleep. Strange sounds came from below, whispers she couldn't understand. Then a faint rustling sound, like something sliding across the floor. In the morning, Peppa awoke to silence. George's bed was empty. She searched the house, but he was gone. Mummy and Daddy Pig were worried. "George?" Mummy Pig called. No answer. The house felt hollow, as if something vital had disappeared. On the table lay George's toy car, faded and worn, its plastic dull and cracked. Days passed, but George didn't return. Peppa sat by the window, staring at the unmoving shadows outside. Mummy Pig sighed more often. Daddy Pig had gone quiet. Their skin grew pale, their faces tired and grey. The house, once full of laughter, echoed only with silence and unanswered questions. One evening, Peppa sat in her room. A familiar rustling sound came from beneath the bed. Her heart raced. She leaned over and looked underneath. Nothing but dust and old toys, until she saw it. A toy car, identical to George's. She picked it up. It was cold, unnaturally heavy, and rough to the touch, like stone. A chill ran down her spine. She turned toward the window and saw her reflection, but it wasn't her. The eyes staring back were hollow, the skin gray, lifeless. Her lips didn't move, but in her mind a whisper echoed, "Now you are with us." The house fell silent, and outside, the shadows continued their silent, endless dance. Forever.
Morning. Peppa looks in the mirror. Her reflection is distorted. She sees not herself, but a monster with a huge nose and small eyes. Mummy Pig says Peppa is beautiful, but Peppa doesn't believe it. She compares herself to others. Everyone seems perfect. Peppa tries to change herself. She paints her nose, enlarges her eyes, but the reflection only gets worse. The monster laughs at her. George brings her a drawing. Peppa is beautiful in it, but Peppa tears up the drawing. She cannot accept herself. She stops leaving the house, afraid of being seen. Food loses its taste. Sleep brings no rest. Peppa feels like she's disappearing. Her body becomes transparent. She hears voices. They whisper that she is ugly. The voices grow louder. They scream that she must disappear. Peppa tries to run away from the voices, but they are inside her. She looks in the mirror one last time. The monster is gone. But Peppa is gone too. Only emptiness. The house is empty. No one notices her absence. Her toys lie on the floor. They wait, but Peppa won't come. The sun sets. Darkness engulfs the house. Peppa became part of the shadows. She dissolved into oblivion.